you, Jesus.
Can you do me a favor? Just say 3 words. Say, have your way. I was created for your glory. I was created for your purpose. I was created for your pleasure. Have your way. I was created for your glory, and I was created for your purpose. I was created for your pleasure. So have your way. Everybody say. So have your way. Sing it again. I was created. I was created. You created me, Lord. So have your way. Holy Spirit, pour until I overflow. Holy Spirit, pour until we overflow. Oh, Holy Spirit, pour until I overflow. Holy Spirit, pour till I overflow. Here I am with my arms outstretched, empty cup. Fill it up till I'm
Connecting the community through gospel.
The new 107.9 FM, W300EB.
Macon and WDDO 980 AM.
Perry.
Macon.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants of the broadcast.
It is now time for the live broadcast of the NAACP with Gwinnett, Westbrook, and Mr. Dumas.
And good evening, and welcome to another segment of the NAACP Truth Show. I'm Willie Dumas, your host. I'll be joined shortly by President WESTBROOKS. I hope you're having a great day. Hope you're staying cool. Of course, we know that we've had some really record temperatures here in Georgia, 102, 103, and so on and so forth as far as the heat index. And so you want to stay hydrated. You want to get those liquids in you because it can be a very dangerous time for a lot of people. We do know that on tomorrow, Bibb County will start back to school. And so now we have to be vigilant and as it relates to safety, watching out for children on their crosswalks and all types of safety measures now. Watch your speeding in those school zones. I understand those cameras are now up and ready to go. So if you don't want to have a picture of your tag taken and a fine sent to your home, make sure we follow the guidelines as it relates to speeding in those particular zones. This past weekend, there were a number of giveaways all across the city, school giveaways as far as book bags and supplies. Union Baptist Church, I know I was there participating in their giveaway this past Saturday. Forrest B. Johnson, we know, did a major giveaway at the Buck Melton Center here in Macon. And there were other churches and organizations that were also giving out various items for our children to make sure they have a great start to the school year. I can recall when I was going to school way back in the day, it seems like we had more time during the summer to actually enjoy the summer. Seems like a very short period for people going back to school this time. And so we do want to make sure that we use safety precautions as it's coming up to tomorrow where kids will be going off to school. And we applaud the teachers and their efforts. We're praying for you because we know that it takes a lot. We know it takes a village to raise our children, but we know that our teachers take a great share of that responsibility when they have our children every day in the school system. And so it's going to be a great time, I guess, for learning this week. So children getting back into the mode of going to school. President WESTBROOKS has just joined us in the studio as well. And so we're going to talk about some things that are happening in our community. Of course, we've got a lot of that to talk about. Good evening, President WESTBROOKS.
Good evening, everyone.
Hope you've been staying cool with all these record temperatures happening.
I've been trying, but it's hard when you have to get out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, I heard you talking about, kids getting ready to go back to school.
Oh, yeah.
And so, that's going to be interesting.
Oh, yeah.
So it starts Tuesday, right?
Tuesday.
Yeah. And we just want to give a shout out to all of the different agencies that has given away school supplies, back to school supplies and book bags. And I know the NAACP, there were Forrest B. Johnson on Saturday. I also did a walkthrough with D.A. Howard. They did a back to school at Unionville Baptist Church.
Yeah.
Also, D.A. Howard I think the Board of Education did a back to school, and we just want to thank everyone for
Their
doing what you do and your
contributions.
contribution in the community, because we do know that a lot of people are still suffering from COVID. A lot of people, um, even though there's work out there, employment out there, what people don't understand, and I hear it all the time, people say that people don't want to work, and we got to understand that we're not denying that there may be some people that don't want to work, or not going,
Right.
that's never work. But at the same time, we got to look at that we've been in a pandemic, we've been in a crisis, and uh, employers have heard it also, as far as revenue, as far as um, their employment not being able to get back
On track.
on track.
Yeah.
So, and then what we've been seeing happen is sometimes they may be paying you 15 hours an hour, but they're not getting you but 20 hours a week. So that means that they a lot of people are actually working two jobs in order to make 40 hours a week. So some people are, I've talked to different people, and they're saying that if they especially if you get a job going to Perry or going to somewhere else like that, and you're not making but 20 hours a week, and then you're spending a lot of your money up in
And
gas.
gasoline. And we
So,
know those
yeah.
prices are back up.
Right. So yeah, so there's a lot of factors that play into why people are not staying on the jobs and different things like that. Sometimes employers promise them one thing, when they get there something else. They've given the money, but the hours are short. Like sometimes you don't they send you home unexpected. The the workload is not whatever, but there are different circumstances, and we just don't want people to have a just put things out there that's not really true, and not having all the facts, because we know we hear it all, we deal with it, and so it's not just that people don't want to work.
Right.
It's different circumstances around it. Um, but Mr. Dumas, okay. Since we were here last week, a housing authority employee was arrested last week,
Wow.
and at McAfee Towers.
Correct.
And so we saw in the news the person being arrested, and they did give the charges. I think it was 104 different counts, and money being taken up, I guess.
Theft by taking.
Yeah, with I guess mishandling of money orders and different things like that. So I do know, I don't, I have, and I may have missed it. I don't see where a statement was made. Actually, a statement was made from the media that the CEO, Mike Austin, did state that if anybody was thought that they're,
The eviction was caused by that.
well, I guess the tenants would not be evicted if they were. But the end, and we are going to issue a statement. We've already drafted it. I was, anytime we do a statement, I always send it to the our state communications state president, CC them on it to see if they have any input. Sometimes he wants to add something to it. But they're all at the national now, so I'm going to go ahead and release it. We are going to make us release a statement, because this is something that the NAACP has been dealing with for a minute now. It's something that, because we deal with, that's one of our game changers, and one of our committees that we have, where people can make complaints dealing with housing.
Right.
So we know that, especially since COVID, during COVID, and even after, we've been had a lot of complaints, a lot of issues dealing with housing, and a lot of it is dealing with money. Property managers asking tenants to pay additional monies, saying that they haven't paid. And this is a thing that I can what I'm saying today, I can
Back it up.
back it up. I have emails, tons of emails that I've been emailing the housing authority for, I know, 2 years or more, um, especially during COVID. And one of the things that was a red flag to me was that tenants were not given receipts when they pay their rent.
Right.
So, I encourage, and I'm not giving legal advice, this is just common sense. You need to get your file get you a file, and what you just to put your bills in. I would probably separate my rent
From
receipts or
those.
whatever from my bills, but you need to get you a file that you keep all your bills and your receipts for your bills or whatever. Some people pay stuff online, and then they do have a record of if they pay it online, because they can go back and look at it. But some people are still, like with me, sometimes, I still have checkbooks. I still write checks. And so that's another way you can track your record. But some people do pay cash, but with normally with the housing authority, or with, if you're paying rent, they don't even take cash. They normally
Right.
take money orders. So, but at the same time, you have a little slip that you tear off your money order that they give you.
Right.
And
And
so you detach it and you keep it for your file, because um
so-
especially if you're not getting a receipt. Now, when I addressed that issue with the housing authority, what was told to me, that they don't give receipts.
wow.
And it just blew my mind, because we are dealing with, in a time of COVID, when the offices were closed.
Right.
Majority of the uh, property manager's office was closed during COVID. So tenants was just dropping money orders in a drop box. But even so, who's paying rent. You still should have wrote a receipt. They got a mailbox right out there. You could put their receipts in their mailboxes. But that was not the case. A lot of tenants lost their and I'm gonna tell you, sometimes sometimes stuff is done by design. Um, if you're not giving somebody receipts, and then you they bet on us not having keeping up with it. And there have been cases that has happened, that we've dealt with the housing
Right.
authority, where they have, and this is an issue, and I'm just telling you, it's not just that property. It's just not, it's not just that particular McAfee Towers. Just imagine that other property managers are doing that, and especially our elderly. Those people in McAfee Towers are on fixed incomes. They're
Right.
they're either disabled or of age, and probably they have some type of income. They're probably most likely doing Social Security or SSI. They're on a fixed income. So I do know that we have one complaint. We never call names on, give people names, but I do know that we do have one complaint where a tenant was actually evicted from McAfee Towers, because they say that she didn't pay rent. But at the same time, her complaint with us was, and this was actually before this came out.
Right.
Her complaint was is that she paid her rent every month, and she was asked to pay an additional amount every month, because they said that she back owed some money. And she said, "Miss Westbrooks, I pay my rent every month."
Wow.
And so she was asked to pay additional monies. But when another property manager came, and she was explaining to that property manager she was paying an extra hundreds of dollars every month, they said they didn't have anywhere in the system where they showed that she was paying any extra money a month, that she was even asked to pay any extra money. So we went down and pulled the eviction thing, and it shows that she was evicted. It shows how many months she was, 2 months that she didn't pay her rent. But she have bukus of receipts showing that she's been paying extra money. So they actually owe her.
Wow.
So this is the NAACP standpoint on it. We know that tenants may be still, we may know that tenants are there and may have been asked to pay money. But how do we find out who's been evicted as a result
Of that
of,
happening.
of that happening?
Right.
So, that's something that we got to look at our court system or our judicial system, and with magistrate court, we got to keep a close track on that. I'm seeing some very serious concerns with our in magistrate court with these evictions.
Wow.
I've expressed on behalf of the NAACP, I've expressed my concerns with the way our magistrate court handles cases. And I've expressed the fact that when tenants come down, you got to listen to both sides and you got to gather uh, evidence or whatever from both sides. The system can't be one sided, and that's what I'm seeing. We had requested um, transcripts, recordings from magistrate court because that was some of the complaints that we were receiving from tenants that they can't talk when they go into court. They can't um, provide their proof to try to prove their case. Those are some of the concerns that we
Wow.
have. But I just think that there needs to be an investigation. That's going to be the NAACP's recommendation that an investigation is done with the housing authority. Period. I'm saying I know all property man. It's not happening on every property, but I do know that McAfee Towers is not the only property that we have gotten complaints
Exactly.
from, where people are saying that they've been asked to pay money back, told that they were not, told that they owed money that they had already paid. Some people are not able to prove that they paid it, so they're just having to move because they can't prove that they paid it because they've lost their receipt. There have been on several occasions that the NAACP has been able to uh, uh, show management where people have actually paid, and it was just, I don't know what the problem was, but that person should have had a credit instead of owing anything. But we were able to get her money back, for them to give her money back. So, good afternoon, Mr. Crawford. Thank you for listening.
Absolutely.
So we were able to get her money back from the housing authority that they owed her. This is the thing that's we had another tenant that you know we pulled her. She provided us her bank statements that showed there was a certain amount of money that came out of her account every month, but her car got broken into, and so all of her receipts and stuff were taken.
Wow.
And I'm encouraged, please do not leave your receipts and things like that in your car. Get your file, put all your stuff in case something happens. You have a record to go back, because what we did was we sent to have her money order. We paid to have her money orders traced. 6 months of money orders. That's what they say. She had not paid for 6 months. We sent um, to Western Union to have her money orders traced, but it was hard to do because we didn't have money order numbers. And as of yet, we still have not. That's been since last year. We have
Right.
not. We're still pursuing that, but we still have not been able to um, get her money orders traced. And she was evicted because she didn't have proof that she had paid rent for 6 months. Now, somebody let you stay somewhere for 6 months, but she said that she had paid it. But we could see it in her bank statements. We don't know, whether she paid rent for it, but we saw the same amount
Wow.
being a purchase of something at normally her money orders were purchased at Kroger. So we saw large amounts of amount of money being a money order being purchased at the same normally at the same place, but we have not been able to prove that she paid rent with the money orders because she didn't have a copies. But she was evicted because she could not prove that she had paid her rent.
Wow.
But they don't give receipts. So the housing authority explanation was to me that they don't give receipts, and I can understand, especially during a time of when the pandemic, when the offices were closed, why we're not giving tenants receipts. And so this is crazy. I don't know the situation with McAfee Towers, whether tenants were given receipts over there or not, but I do know that was an explanation from the housing authority to the NAACP that they don't give out receipts when tenants pay rent.
And
Whether they
and
started
that,
doing it or not, I don't know, but I know we expressed the concern that they need to start giving tenants receipts when they pay their money.
yeah, because it makes it very easy to deny a person's payment because
Yeah, and
they can't verify. The
right.
tenant can't verify.
And it's and like I say, Mr. Duma, sometimes the things are done by design. it's been instances where we have been able to, tenants have been able to find their receipts, and then they say, well, okay, just forget about it. But how did you come up with they owed money in the beginning?
Right.
Where did you get, where in your records that you came up with they owed money? So when they can come and say, look, here are my receipts, I paid this, um, then it's okay.
Wow.
And I've always tell people, they don't want to do that. I said, well, you need to get them to give you something in writing saying it's okay. But they don't. They just, you know, take them. And I told them, I said, y'all got to, when they go up there with their paperwork, then they give it to the property man, and they take it and throw it in the trash can. It's just no record that you ever got anything saying that you owe money.
Right.
And so we're seeing that, and I'm telling you, it's not just McAfee Towers, it's other apartment complexes that we have gotten reports of, that we've actually been involved in, the NAACP has been involved in, where money is being asked to be repaid by tenants. And we're telling, if you're listening out there, we're telling you as tenants, keep you a file with your important documents and receipts, because it's very crucial when especially rent. When
Right.
you
And
can't prove that you paid your rent and you paid it, and then you end up being homeless.
right. And that, you got to safeguard your home. I mean, that's your sanctuary. That's your
Right,
place.
right.
You definitely got to safeguard that by any means to make sure that, everything is accountable for, and everything that,
Yeah.
a person can't just throw you out on the streets.
Right. And that's what's happening so often. And see, the thing about it is, Mr. Dumas, is that if what they're doing is they're sending you a letter saying, you haven't paid your rent, you got 30 days to vacate. People are going ahead and move
Instead of trying to justify or
because they can't find their receipts. And but people don't understand. And I've spoke with many tenants, and they think that that letter that is being sent from the office means that they got to move. No, they got to file an eviction.
right,
They have to file an eviction in the courts, and then if the courts decide that you're not, the you know, you haven't paid your rent, then they can actually evict you then. But I guess some people just move so the eviction won't be on their notice, because if they move, they don't file an eviction, they just move. But it's so many people that have been evicted because of that. Um, I have reached out to the housing authority to ask them, um, what are their plans for looking into people that may have already been evicted because of the property managers' um, uh, charges. There may have been tenants who have already been evicted
right.
because uh, because of their money orders. And if people, and if you're listening, if you have family members that if you are a tenant at McAfee Towers or any property of the housing authority, or any property, and you have been affected by this, or by any property manager saying that you owe money that you don't think that you owe, then you need to contact our office,
Absolutely.
because this is something that we've been investigating for a minute with the housing authority. I have not received a response back from the housing authority in reference to what are their plans to um, actually compensating people that may have already been evicted, that may have been affected by um, being evicted because of non-payment. And especially if you have your receipts, if you have your receipts and you can show that you've
Been
then
paying all along.
you need to contact our office, because um, they may need to be trying to look at getting an attorney, a class action, to file some
Abs-
type of class action um, uh, complaint. If you have tenants that have been in that situation, I do know that it's an issue. I've spoken with tenants who have stated that some errors have been found, have been compensated. They're either not paying, having to pay rent for a certain length of time, or their rent has been reduced for a certain length of time. But at the same time, we people got to be compensated.
Right. And that's a lot of stress too. When you're thinking, you don't have your payment and you're going to be kicked out of your home, that kind of thing. That's a
Well,
lot of stress.
and I'm telling you, Mr. Dumas, people, and it's kind of scary because people have your address and people tell and this young lady came to my home that lived in McAfee Towers, and she came to my home and I was asleep and she was in tears because she had been trying to find the NAACP, and she expressed that she pay her rent and that she was evicted because she didn't pay, but they was asking her to pay additional money, and she
Wow.
paid it because she didn't want to get evicted. But then she was told that they didn't have a record, that they didn't have a record showing that she was paying any additional money.
Wow.
So, you know,
That's worse than, Georgia Power. You were paying your Georgia Power bill and they turn your lights out, and you've been paying it all along. And then you have a astronomical amount that's due, $400 or $500 that a person has to come up with, and they've been paying all along. Then they got to come up with extra money. So that's really terrible.
yeah. And another thing that we're looking at too, because I really think the Attorney General needs to get involved. I think that an investigation, a lot of times with HUD property, is probably going to be maybe the Inspector General, I think. Because I think some years back when we were dealing with another property, we had to get the Inspector General involved because of money issues. And we eventually got rid of that property manager there. But that's not the only property. It's
Right.
other properties, and people are losing their. My heart just go out because we're talking about people that are disabled or elderly that this is happening to.
Right.
And so, and a lot of times people are silent about things because they have to have someone to stay. People they say that then there's in the policy or the law say they're not supposed to retaliate, but property managers do retaliate when tenants speak out. And if you don't have any help or a leg to stand on, that's exactly what happens. They retaliate and they end up evicting you. And then, you know, I've heard the judge say, they don't have to have a reason to evict you, but it's a little different, especially with you in HUD property. You can't just evict the tenant and
Right.
don't have a reason. But we're just encouraging anyone that feels that they have been a victim of this situation with housing, and you've paid your rent and you've been evicted and you have your receipts, you need to contact our office where we can try to advocate, for you. Because like I said, housing authority has not responded back to me as far as how they're going to be compensating people that may have already been evicted. And I just hope that they find out before we do, because we're going to be looking into it and having records pulled as to who's been evicted out of McAfee Towers.
Right. In the
Yeah.
last couple of months or so.
Yeah. So it's just so much going on in our across the country, and actually right here in Bibb County. We're talking about we were talking about the violence earlier. So we're going to talk about we was going to talk about a little bit, but I know we don't have much time, but we'll talk about it next week. But we was talking about the situation where the stabbings in the jail. So we'll that'll be one of our topics
Absolutely.
next week. So maybe we can have someone from the sheriff department here to speak on that, because we did receive a complaint from a mother that was on TV last I think it was Friday or Saturday. We did get a complaint from that mother where the video surfaced where her son was stabbed. So
Wow.
yeah.
Well, we've run out of time, but
Thank you,
we hope
artists, for
you will join us
listening.
next
Please
week.
join.
Absolutely. And so until next time, we'll see you.
You have been listening to the live broadcast of the NAACP with Gwinnett Westbrook and Mr. Dumas. Come join us next Monday at 4 o'clock p.m. on 980 WDDO.
The views expressed on this program are not necessarily the views of the Glory 980 AM, the Glory Media Group, LLC, WDDO AM, its staff, management, or advertisers, but are the views and opinions of the participants,